Hello, everybody. Yay! I feel like it's been so long since our last one. I don't know why.
I know, and I don't even think it actually has. It just feels like it has. Ooh, there's some crazy noises there in the background.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Is it? All righty. Hello, everybody.
Oh, I think I know what I did.
No worries. Our last...
That's my fault.
No worries.
You think that I would have to work Facebook by now, but I don't.
Hey, it's all good. It's a Saturday. Welcome, everybody. I'm seeing some familiar names, some new names. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Yes, I saw someone says hi from RSM, which is where I'm at right now, Rancho Santa Margarita. Somebody's asking how the baby's doing. Miles is doing very well. He turned a year old already. He's at home playing with dad, and he is very cute. And one of his favorite things to do is to restock the shelves, which is just pulling everything out and then putting it where it shouldn't go. So
early training. I
right,
love it.
Exactly. You can learn his numbers, his shapes, all these things.
I think I shared with you, Kelly, this week. A lawnfawn customer was so excited and posted in the Lawn Fanatics group that Miles and Ivy packed her order, and she was so excited.
Yeah, Miles sits on his Auntie Ivy's lap a lot of times. Whenever he's on her lap, she signs it from both of them. So if you're ever lucky enough to get one of those thank you notes from Miles and Ivy together, he loves doing it. It's very cute.
That's so sweet. I love it. I want an order from Miles. I guess I got to place
one. maybe your next package will be from Miles.
From Miles.
Aww, there we go.
It'll be cute the day he can actually sign the cards himself, right?
Yeah, that will be so cute. I just thought I would start real quick and explain to everybody what Create With Us is. We've done it a few times now, but I know I'm seeing in the chat that there are quite a few new people, or some people haven't been able to make it live before. Kelly and I were chatting about how fun it would be to get together. She's on the West Coast in California. I'm on the East Coast on Cape Cod in Massachusetts. And we just thought it would be so fun to get together and host a free mini class with some of the new goodies from lawnfawn. Sometimes some of the previously released items make appearances as well. And again, this is all open to everybody, free for everybody. All the details are on lawnfawn's website. I did pin a comment on the chat, so that is the link. And then I'll also have the link on my table when we get working. But there's a whole handout that everybody can download. But besides that, even if you're not going to follow the class or anything, it's just a really fun time to get together and chat with all of you guys. So
yeah, we've got lots of people coming in and joining us from the Netherlands to Australia to parts of California, all over the United States, Canada. It's very exciting to see everyone here. We even have Letitia from the design team in the comments there too. So
yay. Hi, Letitia. Awesome. So fun.
Australia.
Yay.
Woohoo. Oh, I'm so glad you guys are enjoying these.
Yeah, they're just so fun, and hopefully you guys are finding some inspiration to encourage you guys to use the goodies that you're buying, and maybe just kind of get those creative juices flowing. We love to see what you guys create after this class. Even if it's completely different than the cards that I designed, I always just love to see it. And we are utilizing our hashtag LF Create With Us. So definitely use that when you're posting your cards so we can be sure to see them and see all the awesome creations you guys are making. All right. Should I flip the camera?
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right. So I'm going to flip the camera, you guys. You're going to see my hands and you're going to see Kelly's face, just so you understand kind of how that's going to work. And these are the 2 cards that we're going to be creating today. We're going to do a slimline card and we're going to do an A2 card. We did a slimline cards last time and a lot of people were able to create the similar design but on an A2 card. So you guys can totally be creative and do that as well. And then this is that handout I was talking about. This is very similar to the handouts that I give out into all of my online classes. But on here, it gives all the information about the cards and then any prep work. So if you guys didn't get this ahead of time, that's totally okay. But it's showing you what pieces to prep. And then I also include coloring guides. And everybody in my classes have been loving these. And so again, this is just meant as a guide. It doesn't mean you have to color with Copic markers. It doesn't mean you have to color your Jaguar this way. It's really just to kind of give you guys a stepping stone and hopefully encourage you guys to create. And you can find this handout and download it at this web address right here at the top. And then also our previous Create With Us information is on this page as well. So if this is your first time and you've enjoyed it, you can always go back and take the previous classes and watch the replays and all kinds of things like that. All right.
Yeah, and these are great handouts to just keep with your stamps that have printed out for coloring these images, but using them for a different project even. So they're just really fun resources. And there's a couple people saying it's their first time, so they definitely need to go back and check out the other 2 that we've done.
Yeah, definitely. We did Scootin' By and we did Bubbles of Fun. So really fun classes, and we hope to continue to do these as long as you guys are still enjoying them. So we are going to dive right in, and I'm giggling a little bit because I chatted with Kelly, and Rebecca's in the background here too. Hi, Rebecca.
Hi.
She is chiming in as lawnfawn in the comments and will help us answer questions as well. But I'm only giggling because we get together a couple minutes before we go live, and I was like, you guys put all your images on washi tape ahead of time, right? And they were like, oh no, we didn't. So it's totally okay if you didn't, but basically from now on, most of my classes, I'm going to have us start with having our images already on washi tape because it's going to save us a lot of time and we can just dive right into coloring. So this is a tip that I actually learned from Mona Toth, who does some design and video work for Lawnfawn. She's super talented. And she was just showing how she likes to have images already pre-cut. And then she likes to kind of watch TV with her partner and be able to color. And so having them attached to washi tape, purple tape, Post-it tape, whatever, non-permanent tape you would like, makes it a lot easier to hold on to your little pieces when you go to do your coloring. And I just thought this was brilliant because when I travel to teach in-person classes, everything is pre-stamped and die cut for you. And it is hard to hold those little butterflies or the little hibiscus flowers. And so this is something I started teaching with my in-person classes. And now we're doing it with online classes as well. So super awesome. All right.
There's a couple Kellys in the comments talking about how they don't often meet people with the name Kelly. So I don't meet that many people, but I did growing up because I was named after Charlie's Angels. And I feel like there was a lot of other people that were also named after Charlie's Angels. But I never met other Kellys as an adult. So all of our Kellys, we can stick together. And I'd love to know if someone else was named after Charlie's Angels, not just me.
I think my dad is actually watching this, and I'm Jen, which go figure, that's also super original for the late 70s. And I always ask him, like, why did you guys pick Jen? And he's like, I don't know. So I have no fun story like that. They did want to stick with the J's. It was Jim, and then my mom was Jan, and then Jen. So that's about as creative as I get with my name.
Somebody also made a comment about using press and seal to hold your stamps down.
Yeah, some people have been doing that. So like, let's pretend, this is my coloring guide, but let's pretend that you stamped all your images for class. Then, you die cut. So now they're all holes. And then you put the press and seal behind here and you can place your images back in the holes. So you'll have a whole sheet of paper to hold on to as well. So yeah, that's another great tip as well.
Oh my gosh, Mindy's in the comments saying she was named after Mork and Mindy, and that is amazing. I'm assuming you don't want me to say Nanu right now, but being named after like 70s TV shows, I like it. Maybe that's why we get along, Mindy.
Yay. Well, I'm going to start to dive right into coloring. And I also have seen a lot of chatter in the Lawn Fanatics Facebook group is this a cheetah or is this a jaguar? So Kelly, you want to dive right in and tell us your little story about that?
He's really whatever is in your heart, but technically he is a jaguar because I had to Google this. Jaguars are in South America where toucans are. So he's technically a jaguar, but you could color him as a cheetah as well, depending on what kind of you were creating, because they look fairly similar, but he is technically a jaguar.
I'm going to research into what animals are in the jungle with a toucan.
Yeah. I am going to color him as our fourth kitty. I want to have a big cat. No, just kidding. That wouldn't be, that's not allowed, but I always wish. So we are going to start by coloring the jaguar. And again, there are so many ways that you can color him or her. I am just choosing to use Y17 and Y15. I tend to stick to really simple 2-color blending with Copic markers. I love to color, but I don't personally like to use 39,000 colors on a small image. I just don't have the patience for that. And then I also just want to point out, as we're coloring these images, if you are signed up for my online Tropical Vibes class, we are going to color all the images completely different. So you'll get a whole nother set of coloring guides, and hopefully it'll inspire you to have another way of coloring your images as well. I'm going to start with my darker color, which is the Y17. And I tend to shadow on one side and the crevices. So, and there's no right or wrong way of doing this in my world. I don't really stress out on where the light source is or what season it is or anything crazy like that. I just tend to shadow on the left side and the crevices. Should say a one side and the crevices. If an animal is facing the left side, then I'll shadow the right side because you kind of want to keep their face nice and bright. But in this instance where this jaguar is sitting and facing the right, we're going to shadow on the left. All right. So I start just with that Y17 marker, and I'm just doing a line of color down the left side, avoiding the polka dots, the jaguar spots. I'm going along his little bum, putting a little bit of color at the base of the tail and a little bit under his left cheek. And I'll always be bringing this up to the camera to show you guys. Again, you can color it however you would like, but I also know that sometimes it's just nice to follow somebody and just create without having to think.
And then I know there was someone asking about.
I'm linking it now.
Okay, yeah, I had to get the printables, but Rebecca's going to link that for you. I've also loved seeing all of the fun and different ways people, different shows and things. A lot of days of our lives that people were named after. So
oh, there we go.
That's pretty good. And someone's asking about if we've ever used Winsor and Newton Pro markers. I never have, but I don't know if you have, Jen.
I haven't. I'm wondering, I'm not even honestly sure if those are alcohol-based markers.
I'm not sure. I'm sure they're fun.
Yeah, they sound fun. They also sound like they could possibly be watercolor markers. So those are fun too.
That would look great as well. And then somebody was also mentioning that if you did them as cheetahs, you would color them differently. And yes, and one of my favorite ways to figure out how to color any different kind of animals, I just go to Google Images and search the animal, and I look at real pictures of them, and that helps me pick out markers and things like that. So you could see cheetah and jaguar and then practice coloring each different style.
And the way that I figure out how to color an animal is I actually Google the name of it, so jaguar, but I put the word cartoon at the end. And then that way it's not super realistic. So I can kind of break it down into somewhat a cartoon style, which is similar to the whimsical style, especially of lawnfawn.
Just someone says they are and they are alcohol markers, which is great. That means that you could use very similar techniques like we are doing here, but with the markers instead.
Yeah, exactly. So I just took the Y15, which is the lighter of the two markers that I'm using, and I just blended out the Y17. And what I mean by that is I just did little circles, coloring pretty much over the Y17 and extending that color a little bit farther so you can see it's a much thicker shadow than we started with. And I stay in one small area until the line from the Y17 has disappeared. Now, Y's yellows are very light in color, so this happens fairly quickly. And I only concentrate on the shadow. You'll notice I haven't colored anywhere else on the jaguar yet, because I'm going to want that jaguar, wherever I haven't colored, I want that to stay the brightest point. And with Copic markers, or really any alcohol-based markers, anytime you keep coloring over and over and over and building up your layers, the color is going to get darker and darker. So that's why I personally leave the lightest points to the very end. And then one other thing I just wanted to point out really quickly, you can see I colored in a little bit on some of my spots. Don't worry about that because we are going to be coloring those with a really dark brown. So it's totally okay if you color out of the lines. Nobody will know. All right. So I'm going to continue with the Y17 and finish coloring in the jaguar everywhere we haven't colored, but really trying really hard to just do one layer of color, except for his little snout. That we're going to actually use just a warmer yellow. And so it's going to look something like this, which there are some awkward lines happening between the shadow and the rest of the color. And the way that I soften those awkward lines is I take my Y15 still, my lightest color, and I just kind of flick out from the dark area into the lighter area. And the way that I kind of explain this is when we did the shadow, because we were saturating our paper a lot and going over it in many layers, that was probably, 4 to 5 layers of color. And then when we did our lightest spots, I told you just to do one layer of color. And then when you flick out between the two colors, you're getting that middle, so like 2 to 3 layers of color.
There's questions about the Y15 versus Y17 marker.
I think because then there's the Y21, so I think that's
yeah, Y21 we haven't even used yet. Y21 is going to be for the snout in a little bit. So all I used Y17 for was that first line of shadow. Oh, and did I say Y17? I apologize. And so now I'm using Y15 for everything else so far. Did I make an error on my color? Is that what you're showing me, Kelly?
No, I'm just helping people see the shading part, since yours is obviously blended out. I wanted to show the Y17 at the top.
Awesome.
And then, though, of course, I can't seem to hold it straight, but the Y15 at the bottom, and then it's kind of blended out there at the end.
Awesome. Thank you. I just was panicking because I feel like I always make teeny tiny errors in my handouts. So now that we have that blended out, this is where I am going to bring in that Y21. So this is just a warmer yellow. And I'm just going to color his snout with that. It's going to blend into that Y15 really, really well. I just wanted it to be a slightly different color. So no shadowing or anything on that. Oh, and I forgot his little back leg. I do that all the time. I wonder if you guys do as well. Like you're coloring and then you're like, oh
I
yeah.
often won't notice until I've got it on the card, and then
Yeah.
I realize I gotta color in the little foot.
And then super simple, we are just going to color all the spots, his nose, and the tip of his ears with the E29. And I don't know why my phone is not wanting to focus in on my Copics today. They usually do much better than that. So I'm just coloring. No two color on this part. You most certainly could if you wanted to. But I think sometimes I like to just keep it easy and remind ourselves that it doesn't need to always be complicated. Sometimes it's just fun to color and accomplish that card that you want to make instead of stressing out about all the things. And this is what our cute little jaguar is going to look like. I think I also saw, and I think somebody did link for me, thank you very much, but people were asking how to find information about my Tropical Vibes class. If you guys have the supplies for this class that we're doing right now, you have pretty much the supplies you need for Tropical Vibes. And this second link right here on my table will bring you right to the page on my website that has all the information about my online classes. So
I just linked it again too, Jen.
thank you. Thanks so much, Rebecca. So we are going to do the same exact thing for our other sitting jaguar. I like to color each image separately because when you're working with alcohol-based markers, the alcohol evaporates really quickly. So you want to kind of stay working on one jaguar at a time so that your cardstock will stay saturated. And that way blending will be easier. It honestly takes a lot less work. Oh my gosh, he looks so cute, Kelly.
And then here you can see someone's asking what the cutout above the tail is. It's the die cut actually that just gives you like a little extra detail for the tail. But Jen's just isn't popped out.
Mine's stuck in the washi tape. Here, I'll pump.
Yeah, I got stuck on the washi, but hers is the same little die cut detail. Just I think it makes them look a little more dimensional to have that little cut in there. So that's why we designed them like that.
And then Jen, also somebody's asking about the marker numbers. I don't know if you want to maybe go in a quick little description about that. They're asking about the higher numbers or darker shades for the markers, but I know there's a whole big lesson.
Yeah. And while I'm chatting, Rebecca, if I could bother you maybe to link my Copic 101 post.
I can do that.
It's under tutorials on my site. But basically, the Copic numbering system can be confusing, but I like to keep it simple. The first letter is the color family. So you have Ys, you have YR, you have Rs, you have RVs, and all of those are different color families. And then, and it tends to, especially if you're newer to, alcohol marker coloring, it's helpful to stay within the same color family. It just makes blending a lot easier. Of course, if you're a master at it and you're blending things outside of color families, that's totally cool as well. But to get started, it's much easier to stay within the same color family. And then when we talk about the numbers of the markers, we often call them the numbers together. So you'll hear me say Y17, Y15, but honestly, it's a Y17 and a Y15. And the first number pertains to, and now I'm totally blanking, if it's the brightness, I think. Now I'm totally blanking. It's right on there. Thank you, Rebecca. I feel like I'm like on the spot. One is brightness.
I'm looking. Give me a sec.
I did it with BG49, a big picture.
So the first number is saturation, and the second number is brightness.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
So the first number is saturation, and the second number is brightness. And honestly, the reason why I'm not remembering is because I don't stress out about this as much, but it is helpful to know. And good rule of thumb, if you are coloring on your own, you don't have a coloring guide, maybe you've never seen anybody color the image before, good rule of thumb is to stay 2 to 4 numbers apart to do blending. When I say that, I don't mean 17 and 15, I mean 7 and 5. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Even though we always call them, you know, E29, it's really E29. And when I say to stay, you know, just a few numbers near each other, you're looking at them as individual numbers. So to blend a 1 to a 9 is really tricky. Again, anything can be done in the art world, I think, in the creative world. It's just trickier. So when you're just starting, it's really helpful to keep your numbers together. I hope that answers questions. I do have a lot of information on that Copic 101 post that Rebecca linked. And I also am planning a really fun online Copic class this fall. So little sneak peek information on that.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
I think too with Copics, when I first started, I didn't have very many. And so I would just make things work. And so don't be nervous about just trying something. Like I used to put grays over reds to make them look like a different red because I only had one red and things like that. And so when you're stamping out your characters, you could stamp out, for example, 2 jaguars and try something on one. And if it doesn't look good, just don't die cut them out, you know, don't use them. But you can try different options depending on what markers you have. And I bet it's going to look great. Like you don't have to have all the markers and you don't have to follow the rules. It's still going to be so much fun.
For sure. And I talk about this a lot. I do not have all the markers. And even the number that I have, I don't even use them all. And Rebecca can attest to that as well when I make projects for the classes we teach for Lawn Fawn. Like she's always like, Jen, you know I have all the markers. You can branch out. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but no. All right. So I'm just blending out the Y15 on that second jaguar. And now I'm going to put the Y21 on his snout. And then I'm going to fill in his nose and his spots with the E29. Jessica just said, speaking of sneak peeks, what can you tell us about the next release? And every time I chatted about Create With Us, Kelly, I was like, Kelly always gives away secrets.
Well, our next release is in September, and it will be our fall-winter release. Rebecca is actually testing stamps right now on the other side of this table.
Yay.
Yeah, so we're very excited come September for this release. Of course, it'll have a fall and Halloween, winter, and Christmas themes in it, which is always such a fun time of year. Fall, even though I do not live in a place that has fall, is my favorite. And because I don't have fall, I have to stamp fall. So there's definitely fall theme stamps that are to in this release for sure.
I'm gonna say there's some really good sets coming. I happen to have a few absolute favorites so far.
And I just saw somebody mention that they don't own Copics, and that is totally okay. You can be coloring these guys with colored pencils. If you wanted to stamp your images on watercolor paper, you could use watercolor pencils. That actually used to always be my go-to when I first started creating was watercolor pencils. I just loved them so much, and I just always felt super artistic when I used them. And they're definitely very affordable. So
yes, and then some people are saying like they don't have Y15 and Y17. So I'm actually going to take a look at my chart. Y35 and Y38 could be a good combo. You could also do something like YR 27, 24, or 21. Even though that's a different color family, that's yellow, red, YR. Look really nice as well. You could also do browns for these jaguars. So if you go over and if you look at the intro video, and maybe Rebecca will link it in the comments there, I did one with browns and one with more yellow colors in that video. So you could go and use your like E33 and E31 markers, or your E53, E51, you know, so you can look around on a chart and kind of see where they match. And there's a lot of charts that you can look at online that are completely filled in, like this one. And so you can look at the chart that's filled in on a picture online and look at Y17 and then look at what you have and see what might match.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome ideas. So I'm going to go ahead and start to color our other two jaguars. I'm just showing you guys where I laid my shadow down, and I'm going to do the same exact thing as I did with my other two. I'm going to now blend out just the shadow with the Y15. I'm going to finish coloring him in with one layer of Y15. His snout will still be the Y21 and his spots will be the E29. So I'm just going to do that while we continue to chat. Just as a reminder, I would do one image at a time just so that your blending will kind of go a little bit smoother for you. But
I'll even sometimes on these bigger images, I'll sometimes like just do the head and then just do the front side of the body and then do the back side of the body for bigger ones like this guy sometimes too, because just to kind of buy myself some time. And I'm always talking, so then it, takes longer than it should. So, it helps me do each section.
Yeah, and you're super dry climate here on Cape Cod. We're super humid climate. So things are going to happen very differently depending on where you live as well and what type of weather you have going on.
I know. I learned that
somebody's saying that they're surprised there's not a teal jaguar right now.
I know, right? Oh my gosh, that would be adorable and is probably going to happen sometime.
And somebody is mentioning the hex chart.
That's in that drawer over there.
Oh yeah, I've got it over here.
Yes, yep. Sandy Allnack's hex chart is very helpful.
I need to fill in a new one. I had a chart from like 10 years ago and it actually started to fade. I think it was in the sun too much. But here is Sandy Allnack's hex chart. And so it's a different way of looking at the colors. It's just kind of like a personal preference. This is really fun. You can also do both of them and then you have fun comparisons of how your markers look together.
Yeah, if you're ever going to do a chart, just make sure you're printing it and coloring on the same paper that you will color with on your card. So for instance, I like to use the 80-pound Nina cardstock, which is the lawnfawn white cardstock. And so you just want to make sure you're not printing it on printer paper and filling it in because your colors are going to look different and act differently as well. All right, I'm just coloring my spots on this next jaguar, and then I'm just going to dive right into the last little jaguar we have. I love filling in these brown spots because it really just makes it all come together. And I also just love that if I colored out of the lines, nobody will ever know.
So, oh yes, Lisa. Hi, Lisa. So I saw you were mentioning about how's your birthday month, which is exciting. Happy birthday! And yes, we do have this fun birthday promo, and Rebecca's going to link it, the frequently asked questions on it. So you have to put your birthday month in. You should have received an email. So if you didn't for some reason, please email us at info@lawnfawn.com, and Rebecca will put that in the comments as well. And then we can always help you out and make sure that your account is set for that, and then give you the code that you need to enter. You get a free cute little special stamp and a percentage off. So we'll definitely help you out with that if for some reason it's not working. So I definitely want you to get your cute birthday surprise. We actually are finishing up designing their birthday set for next year, which actually starts in November, not for any reasons other than the fact that we started doing the promo in November one year. So that's when it switches. So I'm pretty excited about the next one. He's pretty cute.
He is very cute.
Ooh,
I know. I don't know why some critters become masculine and some become feminine, but for some reason he's a he.
He's definitely a he. He looks like a he. He's just, I don't know.
I saw somebody mentioning that they never die cut before coloring. And I agree. That is not your typical ideal way, but to make this class run smoothly and not take like 6 hours or my online classes, we always pre-stamp and die cut just so that we're not spending all this time die cutting. But honestly, now that I've been doing this coloring method with the tape holding the images, when I'm designing my classes now, I take whatever stamp sets I'm going to use and I stamp out a whole bunch of them and I die cut them because I actually start to arrange things on a card maybe before I've figured out the color scheme. And so I'm not super nervous to do that anymore now that I know I can just adhere them to some tape like this and still color them really easily. So, but yeah, it's whatever you guys are comfortable with, whatever works for you.
There's another Kelly, asking why the animals are called critters and not just animals.
It's just sort of like lawnfawn vernacular at this point. Our very first stamp set, we named it Critters in the Burbs, because I just thought it was funny. And so it was, it just kind of stuck. And now I've called all animals critters. Even a jaguar somehow is a critter in my world. But really, they really are just animals. I just think critter sounds so cute.
It does. I say it all the time now too. I must have been around lawn fawn land long enough.
I know, right? We've convinced you to call everything a critter.
Yep.
Even though I guess really a critter to me is more like a raccoon or something, but you know, why not a jaguar too?
I think it's cute. All right, I'm just finishing up my spots on my last jaguar. And then we'll start coloring, I think we'll do our toucans next.
As someone's actually mentioning, which this has happened to me so many times, where your die, when you've stamped and colored something beautifully, and then your die slips when you run it through the machine.
Yeah.
So this would be, if that happens to you a lot, this is a good method to.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. All right.
Oh, someone's saying they like our little thank you stamps too. When we do an order and we ship from here at LFHQ, we put a cute little thank you stamp in the orders.
So if you guys are following along with class, let me know, giving some hearts and thumbs up if you guys have your jaguars colored. Kelly's not allowed to chime in because she's been chatting. So if she's not,
I've been talking too much. Get my name on the board in class. The only reason I ever got in trouble in school.
Oh,
couldn't stop talking.
We won't even go there because this is live and going to be in the public world. But and my dad might be watching. But yeah,
you and me, Jen, you and me.
Oh, all the time. But I had good grades. But man, I think it's because I was an only child. I was lonely.
Just needed to talk it out at school.
Yep. All right. Lots of hearts and thumbs up. So I'm going to start explaining how I colored the toucans because it's really simple. I actually didn't do any two-color blending. But I just wanted to mention there are so many fun ways to color your toucans. I've seen amazing, amazing ways. Kelly has some awesome ones she did in the intro video. The design team members did awesome things. So have fun with it. And
yeah,
really
Rebecca will link the original intro blog post.
I did. Awesome. You can do it
for the blog post that way because there's all the different ways of coloring the toucan. Some people did like blue greens, some people did light grays and like a pastel look. We're going to do a darker, more towards black version today. So it's really fun for each card.
You can pretty much do anything. Yeah,
so fun.
Just laughing that we were talking about talking in school, and I just noticed that Miss Huppy, my art teacher, is on our live tonight, and she probably just rolled her eyes because I'm pretty sure I got sent to the principals in her class for talking too much. But anyways, moving on. I digress. All right, so the toucans, what I just wanted to point out is I'm going to color their outer body black. And when I say black, I actually am not using the 110 black Copic marker. I'm actually using W8. And whenever I'm coloring anything, quote unquote, black in Copic world, I always just use the 8. So the W8 for a warm gray, the C8 for a cool gray, the T8, the N8, whatever you want. But the reason why is because when you color something with the 110 black marker, you're going to start to lose the stamped line, and you're going to kind of lose that detail. Like, for instance, his little curve of his wing down here, if we colored it with a black marker, we would start to lose that. And that's okay for some images, but I tend to like to stick to those 8s. Because then you won't lose it completely. So I'm just going to start by coloring all 3 toucans outer bodies with the W8. But again, any dark gray marker will work for this.
We've got a lot of people who also got trouble for talking with class. I wonder if that's a like a crafter
creative thing, maybe.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
I'm just going to answer. Kelly, I typed it in, but Kelly, another Kelly, a lot of you in this group tonight.
Yes, we're taking over the world.
She had asked if we deliver to the UK. We ship worldwide.
Yes.
So if you can get mail, we ship to you.
I love it. Miss Happy says, and that was my art teacher, she says I was always good in class. I think she has selective memory, just like my dad. My dad doesn't remember me getting in trouble either. So I'll take it, though. I'll take it. I was an angel.
I am like the ultimate goody two shoes, but it was
yes.
So, like the fact that I got my name on the board once with a check mark, like still sits in my soul. And that was in 1988. You know?
Can see that.
What year it was. Just gonna say.
I'm still traumatized.
Rebecca and I would have been in the back of the classroom giggling at you.
Exactly.
I know. I don't think you guys would have been friends with me. It's fine.
Oh,
no,
we would have.
You love me now.
Yes, we definitely love you now.
We would have tried to convert you.
But yes, that was actually the one time I was ever in the back of the class because my last name is Alvarez. So I was always in the front right corner. And I was new to the school. I had just moved back to Miami where I'm from. And so they just put me in wherever. And I was towards the back of the class. And see, I think that was the problem. When you're in the front right desk, you can't talk. That's
my name was Bird, and I talked in the front of the class. Don't worry about that. That's not it.
I always forget that was your maiden name.
Yep.
That's so funny.
Well, okay, you guys were talking about names and where everybody was supposed to. I was supposed to be named Robin with my maiden name Bird. Thank God my mother
Robin Bird
that because my father wanted to name me Robin Bird. So I'm just gonna say.
Oh my gosh. Could you imagine?
No, I can't.
You already got enough for the bird.
Well, one of my best friends, Josie, her name is her maiden name is Josie Robin Partridge. So very similar.
Wow.
There you go.
So I just colored his eye area with the Y21. Again, whenever I teach a class, whether it's, these fun Create With Us or my online classes, I also try to keep the amount of markers that I'm using to not be an excessive amount, because maybe you are new to Copics and you maybe want to buy a few to do the class. So you'll notice I'm using very similar colors because I'm trying to keep the color scheme not be 30,000 colors. So again, you guys are more than welcome to branch off if you would like. But I just wanted to kind of explain my reasoning. And honestly, this is how I color as well in the real world.
And as you're coloring there, someone's asking for some color comparisons. So I'm going to do a couple for people really quick.
Thank you. Too. So I just did Y21 around his eyes. And then I'm going back to that Y17 and I'm doing his middle stripe of his beak and his feet. Go ahead, Kelly.
Oh yeah, no, I'm coloring it because someone was asking about BV29 compared to the W8, and it's actually kind of fun. I've got an extra toucan here and I happen to have that marker. So I'm gonna
fun.
Actually a great option. It looks really nice. So I'm gonna color him in really quick and show you guys.
I'm using R35 for the first stripe on the beak. And then I'm going to use BG05 for that inner stripe on the beak. And again, if you feel like you're getting lost with the coloring at all, don't get frustrated. Remember, you can always grab the handout, which has the coloring guides. I have to sneeze, I think. Maybe.
All right. So here is BV29 versus W8. So it's really got a very similar feel to it, just it's a little bit more blue, which gives some toucan sand Fruit Loops
cool.
vibes, right?
Yeah,
and
there
so
you go.
You can see, sorry, there's like, I think this is, so Rebecca got a new puppy. His name is Murphy, and he's very cute, but I'm pretty sure that's Murphy here.
I was going to say you might have some puppy
So
hair.
there you can see, sorry, for some reason I'm not good at looking in this camera, the comparison between the bluish gray toucan and the gray, warm gray toucan.
That works great. Yeah.
They both look really awesome. Another thing I like to do with their beaks is not realistic, but I like to color in like matching my pattern paper. So like if the color or the colors on my cards, if I'm more pastel-y, I'll give them a pastel beak, or if it's more primary colors, I'll do that. And that's kind of fun.
Oh, that's a great idea. All right, I'm going to explain the butterflies, and we're going to do a very similar technique to the hibiscus, and it's kind of like something that Kelly was mentioning if you have limited markers. So for the butterfly, what we're actually going to be using is the V15 and the BG05, but they're only going to be the outer edge is going to be teal butterflies, and then the inner dots are going to be purple. But what I'm using the V15 for is a shadow of the BG05. So let me just show you what I mean. I'm going to start with the V15, and basically coming out from the body of the butterfly, and I'm going to do all three real quick just to show you. We're going to add some shadow. So it's going to look like this. And then what I'm going to do is go over this with that BG05. And because that purple is underneath, it's going to stay a little bit darker. So this is like what Kelly was mentioning. She's done this with grays back when she didn't have a lot of the markers. And you can do it with grays. You can do it with, in this instance, purples. Really any color that's darker that you can have as an undertone. So let me just show you. This is kind of what the butterfly looks like with one layer of the BG05 over the purple. And then what I like to do is just go right back in with that purple and go over it one more time on the top. And this, again, is just a fun way. If you don't have a lot of markers, or even if you do, like I definitely do have a color that could have been the shadow for the BG05, but this is just something fun. And then I did the little dots on the butterfly, the purple, the V15, and I did the tips of the wings with the W8. So just something fun, something different.
I like these butterflies.
Mm-hmm.
I do too. I actually get addicted to, when I'm making these tropical cards, sprinkling lots of butterflies and lots of hibiscus flowers.
Yes, you do. Let me tell you. I don't have enough dies to cut them all at one time.
I know, right?
But they're pretty. I like the hibiscus. I like the way you color the hibiscus too.
Thank you. Yeah, it's going to be really similar to the butterfly, where we use a different undertone color. But here are my butterflies.
Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah, just something different. I was trying to think of exotic tropical butterflies, right? Not necessarily the monarch orange butterflies that we see around here. All right. So give me some hearts and thumbs up if we have our jaguars, our toucans, and our butterflies colored.
Don't ask Kelly.
I'm trying to catch up. I'll be
Not
fine.
asking Kelly. She can be the bad student this one time.
One time. I'll probably like not sleep tonight.
No, don't tell her that. But yeah.
I should ask for hearts and thumbs up for all the other type A goody two shoes out there.
Yay. Awesome.
The butterflies are great, Jen. I really like them.
Yeah, it's
Thank
really
you.
pretty.
Thank you, guys.
I've never tried this before until we did it for a class for some of our wonderful stores that we work with. And I was like, ooh.
Yeah, the first time I called one of your hibiscus, the way you did the hibiscus, I'm like, I really like this. And it's a nice, easy way to add a lot of depth to them there. It's really.
Yeah, something different. I got to keep you guys on your toes, right?
Yes.
Yay. All right. So since we just did that kind of trick coloring, it's not really trick, but you know what I'm saying. We're going to do our hibiscus because that is also a similar way. And for the hibiscus, we're going to do the same exact thing, but this time we're going to use V15 and R35. And with R35, that's just my favorite red. It's a nice warm red. But you guys can use any red, any purple you want. I'm going to start by adding the purple into that center crease of the hibiscus, which, by the way, if you Google hibiscus, there are so many different colors of hibiscus flowers out there. So there is no right or wrong way. Thanks, Melissa. Melissa, her thumbs up and heart emojis are not working, so she's just going to type the word hearts. That works as well.
I like it.
And then once we get that shadow in the center of the flower, we're going to go over it with the R35. And then I always like to go back and just add a smidge more purple on the top, just to kind of add that definition back in. But if you like the way it looks without another layer of purple, that is okay too. And so this is
a blue morpho butterfly. Dora the Explorer taught us that.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, some people are late, but they're joining us. Hi, guys. Thank you. And some people, it's 3 a.m. I've heard it's 1 a.m. You guys are amazing.
My gosh. Wow.
I started staying up past 9, you guys. I also have a baby that wakes up very early, so.
Yeah. I know. Actually, Kelly, like, I don't really worry about what time I text you anymore.
Because although today he slept until 7:15.
Well, I mean, in my world, like, you know, because I'm 3 hours ahead, but like before Miles, I would always wait a little bit. And now I'm just kind of like, she's probably up.
She's probably on the
floor. I was laughing because Kelly and Shari started an early text messaging thing this morning. And I wasn't even awake. And all of a sudden I wake up, I'm like, what are all these? I'm like, oh, okay. I'm going back to sleep now.
Yeah, I'm on, well, you should be on puppy time, right?
Yeah, Ken was home. I made him take puppy duty.
And then the center of the hibiscus, you guys, I kept it really simple. I just colored it Y17. Super simple. And that is our cute little hibiscus flowers.
They look so nice. I caught up.
Oh, wow. Melissa has some hibiscus in her backyard.
You know, I planted some a long time ago and they never really came, and they finally flowered this year. And I was like, oh, it's a sign. Maybe they just needed a stamp set. Yeah, like all of a sudden on the side of our yard, we have like these hibiscus, and we've forgotten about that we had put one there, a plant there, because it hadn't done anything. So it was exciting.
Yeah. So I am going to move on to lizards and leaves.
Do without the lizards.
Rebecca doesn't like lizards.
I know. They're nice.
I don't know. I'm from Florida. I have no problem with lizards.
They fall out of trees in Florida.
You know.
It's a lawnfawn lizard. I mean, anything lawnfawn does is cute. So
they are. They're very cute. I just, you know.
So I'm using Y17 and Y23, which has to be probably my most used two greens. Really simple with the Y17. I'm just going along his body, the bottom of his body, And then I just touch the tops of all 4 legs. Super, super simple. Oh, I knew somebody was going to ask me, Lisa.
I was going to say, did you see that question, Jen?
Yes, yep. Lisa just asked me what my nail color was, and I'm trying to remember. I will look in 1 second, Lisa. It is an olive in June, and I colored it orange because last night I was teaching virtually for Firefly Farm. They were doing a creative crate event, and I did a whole bunch of S'more the Merrier cards, and so I did campfire orange. But I will look it up for you in just 1 second.
Oh, that's like that. Those cards were so pretty, Jen.
Thank you. Everybody had a lot of fun making those last night. It was so fun to see everybody's completed cards. And then for the lizard, I just dabbed on a little bit of purple on his stripes. And while you guys catch up with that, I'm just going to quickly look up my nail color. I'm going to multitask here because, priorities.
Oh, so people took the Firefly Farms class.
Yay.
Oh, somebody has white butterflies in their garden. That's pretty cool. I'm looking back through comments.
Yeah, that's.
Now that I finally got
you got caught up.
Yep.
My favorite is still the person that every time they see toucans, they want Fruit Loops. Person after my heart. My absolute favorite cereal in the entire world
is Fruit Loops.
I love my Fruit Loops.
Someone's asking, how do you find all these classes? So there's all sorts of different places where Jen teaches. Of course, we have our Create With Us that you guys are doing right now. And then she has her Tropical Vibes class coming up that is also with this idea that Rebecca's going to link now. The class she was just talking about was for a store called Firefly Farms in Minnesota. And so she taught for them. So there's all sorts of events. And if you follow both lawnfawn and Jen on, especially on Instagram, but really any social media, and you can sign up for our newsletters as well, then we'll promote all of those different events and classes, and you guys can check them out.
Yeah. If you guys pop over to my website after class tonight, you can subscribe to my email newsletter. Obviously, this past year, I've been doing a lot of online classes, but pre-pandemic, and hopefully in the future, I'll be traveling, and I teach a lot of classes throughout North America as well. So definitely signing up for the email newsletters is the best way, just in case you miss my social media posts or what have you. But I try to keep everybody in the loop. So real quick.
Signing up for sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead, Kelly.
Sorry. I was going to say signing up for both newsletters is a great way to make sure you get all the info.
Yeah. Email newsletters are the best thing to do for anybody that you love, just because social media, you just never know what posts you're going to see and what posts you're not. So I always encourage people to do that. So let me just talk about the leaves, and then we can chat, and I won't feel like I'm interrupting us because the chat is so fun. So what I did with the branches, the leaves on the branches, is I just alternated. I did one leaf YG17 and the leaf next to it YG23. Super simple, no 2-color blending. And then what I did with the bigger leaves, which I'm just looking, now I'm forgetting the names of the leaves. Kelly, do you remember?
A monstera, and then the other one, I want to say it's something like, not a fan leaf. That's the other kind.
A palm leaf.
A palm leaf.
It's a palm leaf. That's what I thought. Yeah.
So for the so these we call the palm leaves, the ones on my far left, and I did those 3 YG23. And the monstera leaf, I did YG17. So again, I didn't do any 2-color blending, but you're more than welcome to do it. But I just wanted to kind of explain that, and then we can keep chatting. I just figured, since this is simple coloring.
Oh, people are saying all the best places to get Copic markers. You know, you can definitely find great places online. Another thing, especially right around here, there happens to be like a local store that's an art supply store, and they have like all the colors. So if you have an art supply, like a fine art supply type store close to you, that's a really good place to look for them if you really want to see them in person, because you can help support a local store in your neighborhood, and it really is a good place to see them. But you can also find them at a lot of stores, like all the craft stores carry them online. So there's a lot of different places to find them.
Also, somebody's asking you, Jen, if you're going to be doing an online More the Merrier class.
So I am not. And the reason why was I had already designed the class for Firefly Farm. And I was teaching my Tropical Vibes class. And there's just not enough hours in the day. So there is not at this time going to be a S'more the Merrier. But that doesn't mean that that set won't show up in one of my classes at some point either. And then to the person that was asking me what color my nails are, it is Olive and June, and it's called You're a 10. Just so those of you that would like to know. Their names are, some of their names are fun, and then some are just initials, which is, I get it, but it's hard for me to remember what they are. But then again, I'm sure people who don't color with Copics every day wonder how I remember those names. So it's funny. Yeah.
I saw a lot of people in our design team did this, and I ended up doing it on some of the cards I created with this set. Is they actually colored some of these leaves in some more blue-green colors too, and it looks so pretty. So that's kind of a fun thing if you want to bring another color to your card, like just to add a little bit more, so you don't have everything be that like grass green color. Yeah, it's kind of a fun thing to do, is to look more towards some of those blue greens that are more green than blue, but use them for the leaves too.
I actually was inspired by Lawnfawn's Rainforest cardstock that we are using tonight. And for my Tropical Vibes class, we're actually going to be playing with distress inks and making some really fun inky backgrounds to die cut from. And we are bringing in peacock feathers. So yeah, the teal is just really kind of a fun thing that you might not think of, but it really changes the way your greens, like when it starts to mix with other greens, it's really pretty.
I'm just running out of ink.
Oh, I have mine if you want it.
I started to on my Y17 too, and I just flipped it over.
My YG 23. My YG 23 it's a really old, like, I think you can't refill these ones, right?
No, you can. I have it's on my list to reorder you.
But that's your one that you think is much different than my YG23, right, Kelly? So
it's not quite right.
Yeah. I have a list of new ones that I need to reorder.
Yeah, there's a couple where sometimes I'm like, did I re-ink this wrong?
Somebody's asking if we're hosting in-person events in Irvine again.
Oh, I think they're asking about the Creative Escape events. I know there's not currently anything scheduled, but I know that they do want to start hosting events again. So I'm not quite sure when that will be, but I know that it's something that they do want to do at Creative Escape, so that's exciting. But nothing is like officially with an official date quite yet.
So I'm just finishing up my palm leaves here with the YG23.
Now, it always takes me a long time to do anything with like the circles. So the Monstera leaves that have the holes in them, or the Jaguars, like I have to go so careful around.
I also sit very differently when I'm teaching online, just so that everything's under the camera well. So I find myself go out of the lines all the time when I'm teaching live.
I know, it's really hard when I'm filming because I can't quite see.
Yeah.
Like I would normally be like right, but then everyone would just see the back of my head. And so a lot of times I'm like, I see the video later and I'm like, man, that's super crooked. And I try to let it go, you know?
Yep. So funny. All right. Oh, hi, Karen. Yay, I'm glad you guys are coloring along in Connecticut. Karen takes my classes at Papercraft Clubhouse in Connecticut.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, rainforest cardstock is beautiful. That's this color right here. I love it. And it's so funny, like, depending what papers you put it next to, it looks either really green or really blue. It's really one of those cool papers.
Pretty. And it's one where like it looks really good on Christmas cards, but then also looks really good on like these tropical cards. It's such a cool color.
Yeah. Yay.
I feel like we named it rainforest, not realizing one day that would be
right. I know, it was like pretty much a given. I had to use it in this class.
Right.
So now I am going to color my branches. Super simple as well. I'm using that E29 again, but I'm also going to bring in an E25 just to do a little bit of blending since we didn't on the leaves. And I am going to just do a line of E29. I have my branches so the curve is at the top. Granted, that might change when, I don't really remember how they're positioned on the cards right now, but I'm just doing a line of E29 along the top on these big branches. And then I just do a little bit coming out of the leaf sprouts. And I'm going to add the shadow to the baby branch, but then I'm going to color branch by branch like I've suggested to you guys. But same thing, this time the way I have it positioned on my paper, it's on the bottom, but it's at the top of the hump. So I'll just bring it up to the camera so you guys can see kind of what I'm talking about if you don't have the coloring guides. And this was with just a dark, dark brown. So I'm using E29. Another favorite would be E37.
I like E53 and 51. It makes for a lighter branch, but for some reason I tend to do a lot.
Yep, that's pretty. And then I'm just going to color branch by branch, blending it out first, and then coloring that one layer of color on the rest of the branch.
Oh, someone says their video is frozen.
Try refreshing your
browser. Yep. If you guys are having a hard time with any video, definitely try refreshing your browser. If we get disconnected, we'll just start again, but knock on wood, that hasn't happened yet.
Jen and I already had our share of technical difficulties.
I have to tell you, so last night, Kelly, was the first time I've gone live since our little technical difficulty day. And I was a little, I was like, oh my gosh.
I know.
I felt so bad, but everybody was awesome. It ended up working out.
Yeah, it worked out. But we, so Jen and I will often teach as well to our wonderful stores that we work with. And we teach them classes that they can then reteach at their stores so that you can go to your local store and take classes. And so that's what we're talking about right now. We were teaching for some of those wonderful stores and we had some just connectivity issues that they got solved. It's a part of the game, right? That's what this is sometimes there's just technical difficulties.
But anxiety comes with that, let me tell you.
Oh.
Jen and I
yeah, that was crazy. But when I think about how many live things I've done in the past year, I guess I deserve, a couple snafus here and there.
Yeah, you had a pretty good track record.
Yeah. Awesome. So as you guys finish up your coloring, just give me some thumbs up and hearts just to kind of see. Again, I don't know how many are actually playing along. Oops, I just dropped my acrylic block on the floor. Something else I wanted to just mention to you guys, when you get the handout, if you haven't already, on the last page of the coloring guide, I talked about my Copic coloring guides. That is a free printable. And I'm actually just going to quickly show that to you guys while everybody finishes up their coloring. If that's okay with you, Kelly.
Handout, and then I'm going to link your Copic class.
Thanks. So I think I have them in here. I should have them in here. So I have, oh yeah, here we go. So I have some free printables on my website that I created just as a thank you to everybody that's been taking classes with me this year and supporting me. And I think that these could be really helpful. I don't know about you guys, but I always get super inspired by the design team members for lawnfawn, and they sometimes come up with really cool color combos that I want to remember down the road. So this is a free printable. You can print it in color, where like your type will be in color, or you can print it in grayscale. And basically you'll stamp whatever image it is that you want to remember. I just wanted to write also the name of the stamp set down. And then there's little swatch areas that you can put whatever colors you use to do your blending. And then down below, there's also a bigger area that you could do the blend, because sometimes the lawnfawn images are a bit smaller. So you might want to just really remember what that blend would look like. And in this instance on the mermaid, I always love to do sometimes a little texture on her tail. And so I showed that on my blend as well. So these are free printables on my website. You guys are more than welcome to utilize them. And again, I just think they're really helpful for you to be able to look back to when you want to try something maybe you saw on a blog post or anything like that. So yeah.
Yeah, and there's also, you can use that to do some of your maybe more unique blends as well, like the things that you come up with maybe with a limited marker supply like you talked about earlier, and remember what those blends are. That's a great way to do that as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And awesome. Someone's given a shout out to Scrappy Chic in Livonia, Michigan.
Ooh, we love Scrappy Chic.
Awesome. Yes, we love them. And then someone here is asking about the narrow nib versus the sketch brush, like if they should switch out their brush. What I think Jen recommends this also is, I know I never use this one, the like chisel end.
Yep.
So I would, if you wanted to try to switch out and try the like the bullet nib, I would switch out this one, but still keep your brush, because it's definitely a personal preference thing. I like the brush. Jen likes the nib. So you can try both, or even have both options depending on what you're coloring. I would suggest it that way, but keep the brush and maybe replace this one, unless of course you like to use this one. But in general, I know I don't use it very often because lawnfawn images are really tiny and this is kind of big. So yeah, that's a good way to have both nibs and try and see what you prefer.
Somebody's asking if we had problems changing them. I change the nibs every now and then and don't have any problems.
No problems.
You can use tweezers to get them out.
Sorry, my light just crashed down.
We talked about technical difficulties too much.
Hold on one second. It sounded a lot worse than it was. It was just my little desk lamp that I'm not even using. Okay. I think I'm good. I was just going to mention, whatever Copic you have, changing out that broad tip to a more tip that you're going to actually maybe use more is a great idea. Even though I use the Copic originals that have the little bullet tip, I changed a lot of my broad tips to a brush. So it's a smaller brush than the sketch brush, but I do still sometimes use the brush. So it's just nice. And so if you really love lawnfawn, I think having that smaller bullet tip is sometimes really nice to help you get into those little areas, especially if you're newer to coloring with Copics. The sketch brush tip does let out a lot of ink. But that does not mean you need to go buy all new markers. It just means you can change your broad tip to be a little bullet tip. So I just wanted to point that out.
There's another question about switching the nibs. The chow are the only ones that you can't switch the nibs on.
Right.
The chow, you can't change that, pull out, or change those tips. The rest of them do have tips that are interchangeable.
This is the chow marker. I happen to have one. But I'm running out of ink, so I have to replace the whole marker. Yeah, so I would I don't necessarily recommend these just because I think I had at one point bought a bunch of mine at garage sales. So I ended up with all sorts of random different, so I have all the different types of markers in different colors and I just work with them. But that one's like, it's running out of ink, so I'll have to replace it soon.
And Charlotte mentioned she loves the printables and she's been using them so much. So thank you, Charlotte. I'm so happy. And Eric mentioned there is tweezers to take your tips out for your Copics. It's kind of funny, like when you first start buying stuff, you're like, oh, I don't need those tweezers. They are really nice. They have these little teeth. I don't know if it's showing up on the camera, but it really is a nice way to be able to take your tip out. If you're just taking the broad tip out, you don't really need to worry about damaging it because you're not going to keep the broad tip. But when you start taking your tip out to refill, you want to be really careful. The main expense with Copic markers is not only their quality, but their nibs are handmade. So you want to be really careful and gentle with them. And so the tweezers are super helpful. And I just saw Lynette popped in and said hi. Hi, Lynette.
Lynette used to work here at lawnfawn headquarters.
We miss you.
We miss you. Visit us, Lynette.
Cookies.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I miss your cookies.
Yeah. We love you regardless if you bring cookies.
Yeah, but if you bring cookies, we won't turn them away.
And then Eric had really good tip where he says you could actually buy some of both kinds of Copics and see how you like how they fit in your hand. You may prefer one over the other. Like if you have a smaller hand, you might prefer the chow because it's a smaller marker. Like I have very large hands, so any of them kind of work for me. So that's a really good tip as well. It's just like I have random different ones in different styles and they all blend together. So it's great.
Yeah.
And
Eric, I was just
Eric also you're not using glitter.
I know we're not using glitter tonight. I know. I don't know what's going on with me. I must have just been in a mood that day. It was probably really hot in the studio and I probably had the fan blowing on me or something. I was just going to mention one more quick thing about the Copics too, is I have some originals and some sketch because the sketch markers have the most color options. An R29 in sketch original or chow are all the same color, but there's more color selection in the sketch. So I have a few sketch and it doesn't matter if you have some sketch, some original, some chow, it's all good. Just get whatever works for you. All right, we are going to start creating our cards now. I'm going to take this kit out right here, which is our A2 card that we're going to create. And for this card, for the pieces, I have just a piece of brown paper bag cardstock for our background. I die cut the tropical leaves background twice, or backdrop twice, out of cilantro and rainforest cardstock. Now, lawnfawn cardstock is 100 pound, and in our tropical vibes class, you're using either watercolor cardstock or distress white heavy stock, because like I mentioned, we're going to be doing a lot of different wet techniques with distress inks. And this die has so much detail. It's beautiful. I love it so much. But just some tips for you when you are die cutting it. And I'm sure Kelly has some tips as well. But what I found that worked really nicely was I put it through my machine one way. And then I turn it 90 degrees and I put it through again. Now, the trick about that, though, is I was making sure I was using washi tape to hold it in place because you don't want to go through that second time and have it jump at all and double die cut on accident. And then also if you have a
and then
metal
we have that.
shim, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. And we show that in the intro video for this. Rebecca's going to link it so you can even see me put it between the plates, tape it down, and go this way. I know some people always like when I do little hints. So if you love this die, but you also love fall leaves, you might want to keep your eye open in September. But this tip is be perfect for any intricate die you have. We actually have a ton of die cut machines here because we test everything on multiple brands of machines. Some machines you can actually just go through once and it's fine. Some you have to turn it. That's even within the same brand but different machines because we have multiples of the machines here. So we try and see what you have, but if you have other intricate dies that maybe sometimes don't cut all the way through, that's the trick. Tape it down, run it through, rotate it 90 degrees and run it again. And the reason for that is there's so many pieces coming in, but we also have stitching around the outside, and that kind of giving this counter pressure. By going both directions, you're going to get all that pressure even and have a beautiful cut.
Yeah.
A couple little questions here. Somebody wants to know how long it takes to design cards for classes.
Forever.
Yeah, right.
That's real quick, Rebecca. That's the short answer. The long answer for me personally, when I'm designing classes, in general, it takes me a while to design a card, but when I'm designing a class, I'm trying to think of the techniques I'm going to be teaching, whether they're teachable techniques, whether it's all going to fit in the timeline of the class. And then also, you know, the supplies we're going to be using. Again, I want to not make the supplies so many different things. So that's kind of why I joked and said forever, because it does take a long time to design a class, just because there is a lot more than just designing the cards. Go ahead.
Yes, and then Eric's mentioning that the Gemini Pro is cuts through in one pass, and yes, we noticed that as well with the Gemini, that it does cut through in one pass. So just kind of depends on whatever machine you're using. And then someone mentioned using wax paper when cutting detail dies, and that's a really great idea too. It helps you remove all the little tiny pieces that are inside.
And then
these guys.
somebody's saying that their background is reverse.
Yes,
I'm not quite
I just saw Stephanie was mentioning that, and I'm not quite sure what she means.
Yeah, I'm not sure. And so, yeah, somebody else is saying hers is opposite. So I'm not.
I wonder if I think it might be like, you know how the camera flips things.
But she's looking right. I'm only seeing her right hand is on her right side.
The camera's not flipping anything because my words are correct on
the
screen,
true, your words are on. That's right.
Yeah, and then I'm looking at your right hand is moving, and I do the right, right.
Yeah.
Well, just flip. If you kind of keep twisting them, maybe you'll have yours or.
Yeah, I don't quite know why.
So I'm not quite. Yeah, we're not quite sure what you mean.
Oh, she's saying maybe. Oh, she's saying that maybe the die is backwards.
Well, the die is going to look, when the die runs through, it's going to look a little different. So I wonder if that's why. We'll start making the card and we'll see how it goes. And then you guys let us know.
Yeah. So what I was just going to start to explain is what we're going to be doing with our two backgrounds is we are going to be layering them and we are going to be cutting some off. So let me just explain so that we all are hopefully looking at our die in a similar way, or our cut in a similar way. I'm trying to think. I'm going to actually take my hand out and flip it over so we have some white paper underneath. Not that it has to be exactly like mine, but I know a lot of the times in classes, people want to do very similar to mine. So if everybody wants to kind of hold their background dies so they look like this, they're both the same right now. And just to kind of explain, in the upper left-hand corner are the long, skinny vines. And in the lower right-hand corner are like those palm leaves. So just so we're kind of all on the same, starting point. And then what we're going to do once we have them both the same way is I'm actually going to be taking my rainforest one, so my darker green, I'm going to turn it 180 degrees so that now they're opposite. And this is going to go layered on top of the light green. And the reason why I did this is so that we have some offsetting, right? If we were to layer it, they would have just lined up on top of each other. All right. But I wanted to offset them. And so that's why I turned it. So hopefully that makes sense. How are we doing?
Well, a lot of people are saying that theirs are different. We're going actually to the warehouse to see if maybe something weird happened in production, but either way, that's okay if they are, because the same technique is going to work. So all you're going to do is you're going to do your same 180-degree flip, and then that's going to give you that cool look on the leaves. And we're comparing different ones right now.
Kelly, does mine look like yours? Because I know I sometimes get product a little early to help with design. Is mine different than the world?
Yes, both of ours are different than the world.
Oh, okay.
We are using the prototypes.
Yes. Okay.
And you guys have the real deal. So that's why. But the good thing is just flippy flop it in your head. It's still going to all work out.
Perfect.
But yeah, Jen and I always work with the prototypes, and I think we just didn't realize that we still had those. I'm so sorry, guys. So you guys, it's a mirror image. It still is going to have the leaves slightly different, but it's still going to look beautiful no matter what. And we'll make sure we'll get Jen and I the real deal next time.
Yeah, maybe before my class next Friday.
Going out in that today, Jen.
Rebecca.
Yeah, but the good thing is the technique that you're learning here will work no matter what direction. Rebecca is going to die cut me 2 new ones. That way I'll make one with the way that your guys' is, and Jen will make hers with her prototype die. You guys, this is behind the scenes here. It's something kind of cool that we do is we do make prototypes of everything, and we do that on purpose so that we can test and make sure that the dies are working really great. And so we have a lot of prototypes that come through the office. Sometimes we forget to switch them out to the final one. So thank you guys for being patient.
Well, and also sometimes we're in such a time crunch, like Kelly was mentioning. We participate in a lot of classes for retailers and for buyers. And so a lot of the time stuff is being sent to me really early so I can get things designed and we can get planned and organized. And so, yeah, that's funny. All right. So what we're going to do is basically you have both of your backgrounds, lay them down so they look the same. So they're laid down the same, however your background looks. And then you're going to take the darker one. We're going to spin it 180 degrees. And then that way, when we overlay them, they will look different. And what I'm going to do is take my scissors, and I'm just going to show you guys my sample here. I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to do some landscaping, okay, or some lawnscaping. We are going to start to just trim a little bit off the bottom, and you can even go up the side a little bit. It's your jungle, it's your tropical oasis. But what's really fun is because this die has that frame built in, it's really easy to trim your leaves off. So I'm kind of just putting my scissors right in there along the frame. And I'm going to start trimming the bottom first. I'm not going to worry about the sides just yet. And I'm doing this one die at a time just because, again, the lawnfawn cardstock is really nice and strong. It's a 100-pound cardstock, so I just don't want to have to struggle with my scissors. But can you guys see how I'm starting to landscape the bottom leaves off? All right. And again, be creative. It doesn't have to be the same design, but like here where I have these 2 more rounded leaves, I'm just going to cut them apart, kind of where this little sliver is right here, and separate them, but leave the big one and take the small one off. And again, I know everybody's looks different. There's no right or wrong way. I'm just kind of explaining the creative way that we can start to landscape our background. I love that this frame is here because that kind of just gives you a guide for your scissors to just go right along the edge of the frame. So again, I'm cutting this corner leaf off, but up here where it starts to touch the next leaf, I'm going to keep that one and just trim it along the edge of that leaf. Hopefully this makes sense. And if you guys have any questions, but this is kind of how we're going to look, so that the bottom area has a little less foliage because we're going to be putting in our own different foliage. And then I'm going to do the same exact thing with the rainforest. That looks great, Kelly. Yay.
So this is your guys's, I'm going to put some white paper behind this so you can see it easier. So that's what it looks like with the real version there. So it's the same exact idea, just a little different look.
Perfect. No two jungles are alike.
Exactly.
All right. And so I'm doing the same exact thing with the rainforest cardstock, the darker green or teal, whatever color you want to call it. And again, just be selective what you're trimming off, what you're keeping. There's no right or wrong way. I promise you it's going to look cool no matter what. But what I also love about this little trick is it's really making your backdrop die look almost like a whole different die. You can get a really fun, different look out of it.
I feel like maybe I could take care of a plant.
Right?
Pruning.
Yeah. This is about as close as I get to any landscaping. We actually don't really have plants in the house just because so many of them are not safe for kitties. But also that's okay with me because they wouldn't survive.
During COVID, I went a little plant crazy.
You become a plant lady?
I did. I got a few little expensive plants.
Oh.
So, yeah, I went a little plant crazy.
How are they doing now?
They're still alive and actually blooming and doing well. One is actually doubled in size because one is called a wax plant, a Hoya, and it looks fake, and my family thought it was a fake, and I'm like, but it gets flowers. They're like, so Kyle thought I was gluing flowers to it.
That's
I'm
funny.
like, gee, guys.
That's their son.
Yeah. So yeah, nobody believed me that it was actually a real plant, and I had to show pictures of what it looked like last year to this year to go, look, it grew.
And here's another look at, I think I did my colors opposite from Jen, but that's okay.
That's okay.
I kind of went off bottom here.
Perfect. Super cute. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to layer the darker green on top of the lighter green.
Also, that's okay with me because that was my computer, excuse me.
Okay, no problem. And to do that, I'm just adding a little bit of lawnfawn glue tube to just the frame. I'm not worrying about those leaves, just the frame. A little bit of glue goes a long way. And then you're just lining up the frame on the frame. And don't worry if your bottom frame isn't cut evenly. We're going to cover that up as well. And I like to use a glue tube because you have a little bit of wiggle time where you can kind of move it. And I just love this. I think it looks so cool. Fun little jungle scene.
You have another cat mom who also doesn't have plants.
I just saw that. And I saw that Kiki is actually making her own with the Magic Iris add-on. Yay.
Oh, that's a good idea.
We're going to be using that in my Tropical Vibes class too.
So here is what mine looks like, which is just a little bit of a different look, but still the same beautiful.
Super cute. All right. And so now that we have that done, I always like this. I'm like looking at my card to decipher actually what I did do next. Sometimes I make these cards and I kind of forget because I've made so many cards since. But all right. So I have my brown cardstock right here. And what we're going to do next is we have two, I forgot the name of this one, Kelly.
It's the Slimline Tropical Leaves border.
Thank you. So I'm using the Slimline Tropical Leaves border, which I love this border because it doesn't have to just be a slimline. Obviously, we're using it on an A2 card today. And there it is. Thanks, Kelly. I'm going to use the dark green cardstock. And when I did the kitting instructions, I let you guys know this one's going to be a little higher than the light green because they're going to eventually layer. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere the dark green to the bottom part of my paper bag, my brown cardstock. So it's just going to line right up with the bottom. I love, did I mention lately, I love this rainforest cardstock.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
she'll be right back.
No problem. I kind of saw that was happening and then I interrupted her. So,
yeah, so that's, yeah.
I actually forgot to grab my Toucan Do It stamp set. So I'm going to grab that from right behind me here. I was thinking about how I needed it. And then I forgot to grab it. So I'm putting my background into my Misty because I'm going to actually stamp the sentiment next. I want to start to kind of get that in place so that when we start to add all of our other stuff, we'll kind of know where that's going. So I'm laying my frame over this, but I'm not adhering it. I'm just laying it there for placement. And I'm also going to take one of my sitting jaguars, gently peel him off the tape. Mine have been on the tape for a long time, so you just want to be careful. And start to kind of place him where he's going to go. And then I can start laying my sentiments down. And I kind of worked from the bottom up. I knew that I wanted this "So Glad It's With You" tucked in close to his head. And then we have "What a Wild Ride We're On." And I really love this sentiment. I think it's just a nice, like, I don't know, encouragement, whether you and a friend maybe are going through something, or you and a partner, maybe even a coworker. Maybe you guys just accomplished a really big project at work. I just think it's.
I also wanted to say one thing. Also, you don't have to have a Misty to do this layout. You could just tape down, lay it out and use a block.
Yes.
So
for
don't
sure.
think that you have to have a Misty to do this. No. I happen to be a big fan of the Misty. I don't like using sentiments without them because
I actually use a block a lot, and you'll see me use it later in class. So yeah, you definitely can use a block.
Yeah, I just want to make sure. Yeah.
Yep, you could just use like a little washi tape or whatever to hold your pieces in place. And then I'm just going to use a little black licorice, just a black ink pad that you like to stamp your sentiments with. Yep, you could definitely use the stencil to create a background for this card. Again, that's what I love, and I hope you guys will start to see with these Create With Us classes, is I'm hoping that it's giving you guys ideas. Even if you don't have all the supplies that I'm using tonight, it's giving you ideas of what you could do with the supplies that you have. And that's one thing, especially with my online classes, I'm always encouraging you to use what you have. And I love to see the creativity. For example, somebody was just taking my Happy Hugs class from June, right? Was that just June? Yeah. And she didn't have this thought bubble stencil. And we used that in class. And so what she ended up doing is she used a cloud die cut, and she used little enamel dots for the little dot, dot, dot up to the thought. And I just thought that was so clever. And somebody mentioned I must have cut my sentiment. And yes, I did.
Yeah,
I just had to do mine. Yeah.
Sorry.
That in.
So if you're not comfortable with cutting, let me actually bring my Misty back and I'll just show you guys real quick, because I know not everybody is comfortable with cutting their stamps, although I say be free. It's going to be okay. I think we talked about this in the last Create With Us, but I just want to mention one thing that I love about Lawn Fawn sentiment stamps is that they are cut in these rectangular shapes. So they're really easy to butt up to each other, whether it be on the top, the bottom, or the sides, and it gives you really nice spacing. I went to school for graphic design and I love typography, so I love that the spacing is going to be accurate no matter what. That just makes my designer heart happy. But if you did not want to, cut your stamp, which I totally understand, that's not everybody's jam and it kind of freaks some people out, you would probably want to rotate, probably not use the mini Misty if you're using a Misty. But basically, you could have the full stamp here. Again, acrylic block or a Misty, whichever you're going to use. And you could do selective inking. So some people will just take the ink pad right to the stamp and you can kind of see what letters you're inking up. All right. Some people might take, and I always have these little Post-it notes on my desk. You might want to just take a Post-it note, cover what you don't want to ink, and then you can kind of go to town inking and not worry that there's ink there. Thank you, Kelly. And then you would stamp where on, and then just move it up and do What a Wild Ride. So that's how you could do it if you are not comfortable with cutting. I actually forgot that I cut it. I apologize, because sometimes Lawn Fawn sentiments are broken up for us, so we can do all kinds of fun, different combinations. So I kind of forgot that I cut mine.
Some people are crying from their first stamp surgery.
It's okay. It's going to be okay.
You did great.
Especially, again, with Lawn Fawn sentiments, because they are in those rectangular shapes, it's going to be so easy to put them back together. I promise you, it'll be okay.
Ooh, a fall frame glitter cardstock would be very pretty. I know. That fall frame is almost done being designed. So I'm very excited about
it. Secrets. I told you guys.
I know. I told you there's all sorts of fall things. And then there's a couple stamp sets that make Jen very happy. I wonder why that would be.
Yeah. I'm going to be quiet because I don't own the company, so I don't want to get in trouble for telling too many.
Stephanie is talking about the fact that you have to remember to remove the Post-it before stamping.
Yes,
I've done that. I've
done that.
So that is always a good idea. All right. So next, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to adhere my sitting Jaguar. Now, this is kind of where I'm always putting like my frame down. I'm not going to adhere my frame yet, but I kind of want to see where that frame is, and then this way I can kind of slide him under. I want him to be right up under that "So Glad It's You" that we stamped. So put him up pretty high. It will look like he's floating right now, but don't worry about that.
Is that with tape runner then?
I just use glue tube. I use glue tube for everything now. I hardly ever use a tape runner anymore. Edna just said that it must be cats or more mermaids if it makes Jen happy. So I will say in response to that, probably not mermaids in fall.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say that.
It's a pretty good hint.
Is that okay? Am I in trouble?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Fall mermaids. I mean, we try to make a lot of things work, but I don't think we can make fall mermaids work.
All right. So now what I'm going to do is, again, working with my frame, I'm going to take my little branch. So we colored that one little lonely branch. And I want to glue that. Basically, I'm going to start to attach things behind the frame, because then what I'm going to do is pop up the whole frame. So just to kind of explain what we're doing. And again, this is just the way I put it together, but don't feel you have to do it. I know a lot of times people appreciate this part because sometimes they have a hard time thinking about the steps of putting things together. So again, if you have a different way you want to do it, that is totally okay. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere my little branch behind the frame. So I'm actually going to put a little bit of glue tube on the front of the base of the branch. So here you can kind of see where I just put that glue tube. And I'm looking at my sentiment. I have this all like lined up, and I'm just going to tuck this branch underneath, right on top of the word what. And if a little glue tube shows, no worries, it's going to dry clear. Okay. And then we're going to take our big branch, one of our big branches, and we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to put a little bit of glue tube, and I am going to tuck that up above on the upper right side. Now this guy is going to hang off the edge. We are going to end up chopping some of that branch off. So you can have it go into the card as far or as short as you would like. Okay. So Kelly was saying, what's the positioning tool? I keep seeing everyone using videos. What I was using, there's a lot of different stamp positioner tools out there, Kelly. This is called the Misty. So Kelly Marie's holding hers up. It's pink. This one's a black one. And so Kelly has the mini Misty in her hand and the regular size Misty. And it really does. A lot of people have really loved it, coming out, because it really, if you don't stamp something perfectly the first time, you can go ahead and stamp it again, and your stamps are staying in the same position. So it will, you won't have any shadowing of your stamping or anything like that.
And the positioners are awesome. You can also use acrylic blocks. So this card, I just use an acrylic block, because I'll just do that for my sentence, because I'm like too lazy to do the whole, to put it on the Misty, and so I'll use the acrylic blocks. So it's really a personal preference. It kind of, for me, I go back and forth, and depending on what card I'm doing. So it's definitely, one of those cool things. And I know that Rebecca just linked us to the 2 sizes there.
Thank you. And now we have our other little slimline tropical leaves that we cut. And so what we're going to do with this is I'm just going to put some glue just on the bottom, and I'm going to adhere this to the bottom of the frame. I'm going to move it off of my card so I don't get any extra glue somewhere where I don't want, but I'm just going to seal in that bottom. This is why I told you it didn't matter what your frame looked like. And then what we're going to do is flip over our frame and pop dot the heck out of it. I'm going to pop up my whole frame. So, and the reason why I adhered all my little pieces to the frame is because I wanted those popped up as well. So now I know I can put some pop dots out on these branches. And it'll make it look nice and dimensional. And this is just, I like to pop up all the things, but you could most certainly adhere this flat and it would still look just as cute with all the different layers, because we use different colors and we've got the stamped images intertwined into the background. It's going to look cute no matter what.
That's one of the things I like about this background is it's one, well, I guess technically 2 passes through the die cut machine, but you get something that looks like so epically cool that your card is like, could be a relatively simple card like this one, but it has such a huge, like, just pizzazz factor when you send it to someone.
It's like a big wow factor. And that's why I don't mind having to put it through the die cut machine twice to have all that beautiful detail. It's like, to me, it's so worth it.
I know. We would have
So
had
pretty.
to have like taken some of the hanging leaves out and taken away this. We didn't want to do that. So we thought 2 passes through sub-machines works.
Yep.
Couldn't give up any leaves. No. These are my plant babies.
Yeah. This is my gardening.
This is as close as I get.
So I'm just kind of hiding little pieces of foam squares here and there. They don't need to be everywhere, but you want to kind of just have enough to pop the layer up. I'm going to do...
Somebody's asking if you guys send out the cards you create.
Yes, sometimes.
Sometimes. Not as much as I would want to, because a lot of my cards get taken for trade shows. So then I don't get to send them out to people. But I have been trying to be better this year about sending some. So it's definitely like always a goal of mine every year to get better at it.
And similar for me, when I travel and teach in-person classes, a lot of my lawnfawn cards come on the road with me so people can actually see them in real life, because I just think all cards are just so much cuter in real life. And I need to enable people to want all the lawnfawn things. So a lot of my friends get cards from me, but sadly they don't get a lot of lawnfawn cards from me. So, but this year I have been much better at sending cards, just because I haven't been traveling as much. So I've had a little bit more time. All right, I'm flinging my pop dots on the side, the backings, and Kelly's probably putting them in her little dish. Yep, there we go. Nothing's changed.
One of the few like organized things that I do in my life. Let's put the...
I'm going to keep my mouth shut on that one.
All right, so here is mine, just to kind of give you an idea. Again, put your pop dots wherever you want them. Kelly's looks about the same too. Just have fun with it. And then now I'm going to adhere this to my background. And I just think it looks so beautiful popped up. It just really makes it look so dimensional. If any of your background is off at all, feel free to just take your scissors and cut along that frame to trim any excess off. I do that all the time, and it's okay.
I do that on every single card I make.
Oh, good. I don't feel
I never
bad.
I never quite get it right.
Much as I can.
Yeah, also because Rebecca's measuring it sometimes.
Well, I think the die is cutting it perfectly, but our paper trimmers, I mean, they're not commercial paper trimmers, so
exactly. And the die is down like to the it's like it's the exact computer measurement.
I blame the paper trimmer.
I like that. Thank you.
You're welcome. So now we're just going to do a little bit of decorating. I want my little toucan up here in the corner. So I'm actually just going to put a little pop dot here right on that brown cardstock. And then I'll add a little glue tube on him, just so he won't sag in the middle. And then we're going to add one of our little butterflies off on the left near that little branch. And I'm just going to use some glue tube for that. I didn't go crazy and do another layer of pop. Actually really proud of myself for that.
I was tempted.
Do it. And then we have our walking jaguar. And we are going to put that right at the bottom. And again, I'm just going to use glue tube for that. I actually have to say, it's been really fun doing all my online classes and then these Create With Us classes, because I make the cards to show you guys what we're making. And then I make them again. So I actually am not sad when I give my cards away, because I still have a set of them. So that's been making me happy.
Someone's asking
These are the Fiskars Spring Action scissors. They are my most favorite scissors in the whole entire world. This legit pair is probably 14 years old, and I'm not even exaggerating. They take a little bit of getting used to, but I find they're really nice on your hands because you're not in loops, and they work lefty or righty. And yes, the glue does dry clear.
Yes, and someone says that this would be a really nice shaker card, and that's a great idea with like green sequins.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, I'm so glad that you love the release, Dana. Thank you so much.
Yay. And then that's our first card. So we're going to go on to our second, which I love this one. So last Create With Us, we actually used this slimline die, but we didn't use the lift the flaps that come with the die. So one thing I also try to do whenever I'm planning any of my online classes is I try really hard to maybe utilize supplies that I've enabled you to get for previous classes. One, because I love those supplies, or we wouldn't have used them in a class. But two, I just want to give you guys more ideas with them. So Kelly's holding up the dies, and you can, what I love about the lawnfawn slimline dies is the basic shape ones come with other fun things. So this one comes with lift the flaps, and then another rectangle size comes with sliders. So it's not just a rectangle. You can do other fun things with them. All right. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to stamp on our paper bag cardstock. And this is a really fun thing that actually Shari, who designs cards for lawnfawn, did, and I loved it. She used distress oxides, which have a pigment property in them, and stamped it on craft cardstock, and it just looked so pretty. So we were like, ooh, let's do that in the Create With Us class. So if you don't have distress oxides, any pigment ink will work. Water-based dye inks will kind of work, but the color is not going to sit on top of the paper as it would if you're using a pigment ink. And whenever I'm making a background like this, it's so funny. I was actually doing something very similar in last night's class. I'm going to take the two big leaf stamps from the set. I'm going to put one on one side of my acrylic block and one on the other side of my acrylic block. For something like this, I think it's much faster to use an acrylic block than a MISTI. And this way, I am going to ink up my stamp, one of the leaves in peacock feathers, and stamp it. And then I'm going to flip my block, ink up the other stamp in mowed lawn, and stamp it. And you're just going to work your way around your background. One thing when you're doing backgrounds like this, don't be afraid to stamp off the side, because that's going to actually show more movement. It won't, oh, whoops. Don't talk and stamp at the same time either. But don't be afraid to stamp off the side, because that's going to show more movement on your page, and it'll look more like a background and not like a framed in image. And the other thing I just want to mention is after I get my big leaves down, I am going to take this little leaf stamp and sprinkle it in between the bigger images to kind of fill in the holes. So don't worry, you know, if images are far apart from each other. And then also turning your block so that you're turning the stamp so it's all different orientations is another little tip to kind of make the background look more organic.
I always have to remind myself to turn the things upside down as well, not just left to right. That really helps too, you know?
Yep. Yeah, I try to just like keep rotating. And that's the other reason why it's really nice to have it on a block, because you can just keep spinning and spinning and spinning.
This is definitely acrylic block time, not misty time here.
Yeah, it's just so much faster, and it's just a background. So if something doesn't stamp perfectly, don't worry about it. Honestly, we have so much other fun stuff that's going to go on this card. So this is not the focal point. It does not need to be perfect.
So we've got Eric accidentally ordered 1,000 slimline envelopes. So glad he's making another slimline card.
Sounds like Eric needs to mail me a card.
Yeah. And Tara just won the die in the lawnfawn addicts group. So that's awesome.
Awesome. All right, so this is kind of what my background looks like. Again, yours doesn't need to look identical to this. And I'm going to now just wipe my table off, my desk, because I stamped off the edge and I want to make sure I don't have any ink. And then I'm going to take that smaller leaf stamp and just sprinkle some of those in between the bigger leaves. The little paw print would look cute too if you wanted to do that.
Well, the paw print would be cute.
But this is also just meant to be quick. It doesn't, again, because we're not worrying too much about really what you're doing. You're just stamping and filling in the spaces. I still try to rotate. I still try to stamp off the side. And I don't know why I have to ink it twice like that. I don't know.
I do that too.
I'm making like music, I think. All right.
Shari likes to do these patterns, and oftentimes she'll use the little hearts that are included in a lot of our sets to do this fill-in part. And I always think that looks so pretty.
Yep.
I like the paw print idea too. I think that would be really cute.
Yeah.
The Plan On It sets have really cute little images too that fill into backgrounds really nicely as well.
Ooh, yeah.
I actually recently, for the Lawn Fanatics Challenge, did a Halloween card because I was in the mood. And I used all the planner sets for the background.
Oh, I'm going to have to go look.
Well, Halloween's upon us.
Yeah.
In our world.
Does that mean I have to get a Halloween costume again?
Yes, we have to. We didn't do Halloween costumes last year, but this year I think it's coming back.
Okay.
We have Halloween costumes in the. I need some family costume ideas because I can still make Miles dress up, right?
Oh, you've got many years of making Miles dress up.
I know Miles has some pretty strong opinions about how awesome trucks are, so I have a feeling this is my last year. He goes, duh, duh, and that's truck.
All right. So now
Margaret, she met me up in San Jose years ago at Scrapbook Island. It's nice to see you on here.
So fun. So now what we are going to do is we have our Lift the Flap background here. And then we're using that Tropical Leaves Slimline die and as an actual slimline. So you're welcome for actually using the product for what it's for. I'm just going to gently start to open up my flaps just so I can kind of see what's going on behind them. And very similar to what we did with the last card, we're going to start to actually adhere things to our Lift the Flap frame before we put it on the card, because I'm going to actually pop up the whole thing on the background. Thank you, Edna. You can always catch the rest of the replay later. I'm so glad that you enjoy these classes. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to take our other walking jaguar. And mine have been on the tape for so long, and with the humidity, I'm just gently detaching so we don't have any tearing issues. And we're going to take our fluttering toucan, not the one sitting, the one fluttering. Is fluttering a word, or did I just make that up?
think
think
so.
because you can
Let's look it up.
What can it be? Yeah, maybe.
Well, I'm glad that you guys understood what I meant.
Well, yes. So fluttering, because your heart can flutter. So yes, fluttering is a word.
Okay, good. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the toucan's feet and put him on the back of the jaguar. So he'll look just like that. Just real simple. It doesn't, we're going to add some more on later. The replay for the video will be right here on Lawnfawn's Facebook page, and you'll just look under videos. And it will also be linked on the Create With Us page on the website, on Lawnfawn's website. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of Lawnfawn glue tube or dot runner on the front of his 4 feet. So you can kind of see how I did that. And then this is going to go behind our 3rd little frame. So just like this. Okay.
And it looks like Joy did a make and take at Scrap Fest at Mall of America 9 years ago. And oh my goodness, it's been a long time for Scrap Fest. But I got to tell you, we did 900 make and takes in 2.5 days. And it was one of the crazier things I've ever done. It was pretty cool to be able to do that many make and takes. So thank you for standing in our line and hanging out with us, Joy.
And then you're getting all kinds of costume ideas here, Kelly.
Oh, good.
So I'm going to write them all down. Lots of ideas.
All right, and now I'm just taking that glue tube. I'm putting a little bit right on the edge of the tropical leaves slimline. And then that is going to get lined up with the bottom of the lift the flap frame. I actually think in the directions I listed that you cut the tropical leaves and then you cut it out of this frame so that you have that same stitching on the side and the bottom, just to make it easier to line up. So hopefully you guys can see that. I know the flaps flaps are adorable, but for videos, it makes it a little tricky.
Somebody says they live by the Mall of America and really miss Scrap Fest.
Yes. There's a part of me that misses it, but then 900 make it takes in 2.5 days. It's crazy.
Kind of glad I started Lawnfawn after
But
that.
we always joke that, like, you know, the newer people, like, you know, you need to have done a Scrap Fest to like really be
Yeah, no, I'm okay with that.
fawny. Someone's asking if Lawnfawn will be at Stamp Away. We won't be at Stamp Away this year. I've heard it's an amazing event, though, so I hope you guys have a lot of fun at that. But we won't be at Stamp Away. Hopefully one day.
So I just added a little glue tube to the left side of the branch. And I'm going to add that behind this first window. Again, it is going to overhang off the left side. We're going to trim it to make it fit in that window. So you can make the branch go in as far or as short as you would like. We are going to put a toucan on there, so just keep that in mind. And then again, I'll just take my scissors and trim off the extra branch.
It's really cool how as soon as you put that grass behind the jaguar, like the whole thing starts to come to life.
Starts to become a jungle.
Yeah, it's really cute.
Then we have our other sitting jaguar. He's going to go behind the leaves on that center window. So I'm putting a decent amount of wet glue on the bottom of him. And I'm just going to figure out where I want him and the height that I want him. And stick him behind. All right, and now last but not least, I'm just going to add a little bit of glue tube to the back of our last little toucan, to the back of his feet, and put him on that branch on the first window. He doesn't need a lot because we're going to end up putting a pop dot behind him. So
Judy, thank you so much. We love the online events too. We really get to connect with more people from everywhere doing all these online events now, and we're enjoying them. So I'm glad you are.
It's honestly been such a bright light this past year for sure.
Oh, for sure.
So we're glad that you guys are enjoying them too.
So I am going to flip this over and, like last time, pop dot the heck out of it. So I am going to make sure I have foam squares on the corners, the edges, behind the critters, just everywhere, but don't obviously put any on your flaps because we want those to still be able to open. And I'm not saying that to be obvious, but I'm saying it because guess what? I've probably done it before.
And Sheila, I agree. Now I have to look at some new flip-flops. She's saying now we need reverses of these guys.
Yes. Flip-flops for all the critters.
And Margie wants to know if we plan on continuing online events in the future, even when events open up to more people.
So
yes.
my quick answer is I've already told everybody that's been taking my online classes, even when I am traveling and teaching again, I personally will still be offering online classes. So definitely keep following me because I've met so many people all over the world that wouldn't necessarily be able to make it to a store that I'm teaching at. And that's just been so fun. And I feel like we're all friends. We have all these fun little communities in each of my classes. And I would miss you guys too much if I didn't do them.
Yeah, I think we'll have a nice, healthy mix. And I know that Jen and I, we love doing these Create With Us classes. We definitely plan on continuing these for sure.
I love doing these with Kelly. So fun.
And we get to hang out because we used to teach in person together all the time. So this gives us our fix.
For sure. All right, so I am just gonna, oh, you know what? I actually want to put two more behind my toucan and my branch, just to make sure those are nice and sturdy. And then I am gonna peel and stick, centering this on my background.
Jen, did you worry about putting any in those center like pieces or not?
What do you mean?
Like the poles? Do you think we have to put them there too, or do you think?
Oh, let me look at my original. I didn't, and my card seems fine. So you could always cut a foam square in half and put one in one if you wanted. I think because the leaves go up pretty far is why.
Oh yeah, it's got enough support.
Yeah.
Structurally sound.
Yeah. I mean, I go pretty crazy with foam squares, so the fact that I didn't put them there is
kind of actually... I'm like, I thought I used a lot of foam, Jen.
Honestly, using these squares instead of 3M foam tape, I use way more. I don't know why. I just think they're just so easy to just keep plucking them off and sticking them, and before you know it, you have so many.
Until you have to peel off all those backers.
I know, as I'm doing right here. And actually, it's hard to tell which ones I've peeled off and which ones I haven't.
I always have to kind of stick my finger to it and find out.
Yeah. All right. And now we're just going to center as good as you can because it's a handmade card. Ah, so cute. I love it.
I feel like I need to bring this one home to Miles because he has all these lift the flap books that he loves.
Yay. Thanks, Dana, for signing up for Tropical Vibes. Yeah, if you guys have the supplies to have done this class with me, with us tonight, you have basically what we're using for Tropical Vibes. The only thing that we're doing with different supplies is we are making a magic iris, and we are using that tropical leaves add-on dye. But when I say to you guys, you can substitute if you don't want to make a magic iris, if you don't have that add-on, you will be able to use the card designs with the supplies you have and still have a really fun time. The classes are really affordable. They're only $18. So my theory is if it encourages you to create some more, it's worth it, even if you don't have all the supplies.
Oh, for sure. And it's cool you're doing a magic iris. That's a nice thing to be able to create along with in a class, you know, to really learn how to put one together.
I actually did a poll this spring via my email newsletter asking people what interactive cards they wanted to see in my upcoming classes. The first #1 out of the park vote was for Reveal Wheel. So I did a whole class on Reveal Wheels. We did Mermazing. And that class is still available. And then the second one that was voted for was Magic Iris. So that's why I decided to do Magic Iris. But yeah, I love the Magic Iris. So I just added the little lizard down here flat. I just love him so much. I don't know why. I just like actually sticking him randomly on cards because it's almost like, where's Waldo? It's like, where's the lizard? All right.
He's really cute. New giant happy birthday dies. Like if you put him across the letters, he's fun.
Yeah. So now we are going to decorate the fronts of our flaps. And I actually just noticed I made a teeny little mistake, mainly because I'm chatting and not paying attention. But I stamped the butterfly tails on these lift the flaps. And now our card is all bumpy. So 2 suggestions. One, you can live on the wild side, which is probably what I'm going to do. And
I'm doing it right now.
I'm going to try to stamp them and be okay with it. 2, if you don't want to live on the wild side, you could stamp and die cut your butterfly trails, and add them that way. Or 3, you could just not have them at all and it'll still be really cute. You could draw in your own. There's a lot of options, and I apologize. We were just chatting away and I was having a fun time and I forgot to have us stamp those before we stuck that down. I'm not going to stamp mine personally yet. I want to get some leaves in place so that I can kind of know where to fit them. So on the front, I'm going to try to fit both of these on the screen for you guys. On the fronts, all of the leaves are going to be attached flat, and the butterflies and the hibiscus are popped up. So I'm going to attach my leaves first, and then I'm going to try to be on the wild side and stamp my butterfly trails. I keep saying tails.
I did mine. I wanted to show everyone. It didn't turn out perfect, but it's not bad.
There we go. Yeah.
And then, Jen, since you're talking about what you're going to pop and what you're not going to pop, Lisa had a question of asking, how do you decide what images you want to pop and what are flat?
It's just whatever, honestly. I'm just always thinking about adding dimension. So when you're adding dimension and you're going to pop something, it doesn't always, but it sometimes looks cute to tuck something underneath flat. But honestly, it's just... there's no science to it. It's whatever my brain thinks of. I don't know if Kelly has something better to say.
I mean, sometimes I'll think of it as like what's in the background and what's like closer to me and what would be further away from me in a scene.
Yeah.
But I mean, other times it's just like I just put a pop on and everything because it's fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. But a lot of times, or if there's something I want to highlight. So let's say in my scene, like I really want my jaguar to be my main thing. Well, then I'm going to put him on the pop dot because that's going to make him even more exciting, right? Even more out there. And so, or if I like colored him really well and I'm like, ooh, this guy turned out nice. Like he needs some shine, I'll do that. And I'm also, by the way, using my leaves to cover up where my stamping on the trails didn't turn out perfectly. And that seems to look pretty good. If anyone else tried to stamp.
So I have my leaves down flat on my left flap and my right flap. So now I am going to stamp the butterfly trail. Nothing like doing this on live. What I suggest is do a test stamp so you get a feel for this stamp because it's a dainty stamp to begin with, but then have a gentle hand with it. Oh yeah, perfect. And by perfect, I mean handmade, so it's going to look cute. All right. So next what I'm going to do is put a pop dot behind the 2 hibiscus and the 2 butterflies. And you should have 1 leaf left. We're going to do a fun little sentiment for the front in a minute.
All right, Amy has a very good idea. You could have taken the door of your Misty and put it under the flap and then stamped.
Ah,
Gold stars for Amy.
All right. Yeah, Amy wins on that one. Never thought of that.
I'll have to remember that at 2:30 in the morning when I'm almost done a card and I'm mad at myself because I didn't remember to stamp.
No,
that's very, very good idea. Putting that in my back pocket.
Right? I think we're all putting that one in our pocket now. It's a great idea.
And I wouldn't be Jen Shirkus if I didn't mention that when you take classes with me and even the other Create With Us classes, I love lawnfawn Prisma glitter. And for whatever reason, I didn't use it on these cards, but I'm telling you, these butterflies and hibiscus are just screaming for some glitter. So somebody please put them on theirs and post their cards so I can see them because it's killing me.
And we might have another glitter product coming out. Maybe.
Oh, secrets,
September.
Secrets.
That Jen will love.
So now I am going to put a fun little sentiment on the front. This is something that I call word fetty. It's just like a Jenism. I'm going to stamp Toucan Do It in Peacock and Have a Wild Day in Juice Box. And then I'm just going to cut it with my scissors. I'm not going to cut it with a trimmer or anything. It's not meant to look perfect. It's kind of like a ransom note, but not scary.
While you're doing that, Margie has a question for Kelly. She wants to know, how do you design future stamps and dies? Do you take suggestions or do you come up with these ideas on your own?
You know, it's a little bit of a combination. So sometimes people will write in, lawnfawn fans will write in and say, oh my gosh, I wish you guys had a, Jaguar. And then we're like, oh, you know what? That'd be fun because we love getting to create what you guys really want. So we love hearing things like that. And then a lot of times it comes up with like maybe something we got inspired by that we saw or just something we think is cute. A lot of times, like if we can come up with a pun, like we'll make a whole stamp set around that. So that's kind of how we do. And we have these little brainstorm meetings and come up with different things. And sometimes some of us do it on our own. And sometimes it's in more of a meeting where we all kind of talk about different things. But that's it. That's kind of how we come up with things. But we love hearing suggestions because we like to make people's, critter dreams come true. So
Jen's website is a separate website other than lawnfawn.com. I'm linking it again.
Thank you.
And then we've got someone asking when the September release is. Don't have the exact date yet on it, but it'll be probably
September.
In September. Not too late in September.
Stay tuned.
Yes, exactly.
We're working on that.
So you can see I'm just literally taking my scissors and I just trim near the words. Again, I know this might freak some type A people out, but I just like making it like a fun little word fetty. It's whimsical. It kind of goes along with the look of the card as well. And then I have one more leaf.
I'm stressed.
You're stressed. Are you using really big scissors?
I switched to that now.
Well, that's
no one
part
likes
of the problem.
She's gonna cut her finger
No,
off.
on the small scissors I was struggling. So I'm actually doing better
You're
with
using
these.
the
But
big ones to mimic a paper trimmer is what you're doing. I'm on to you, Kelly.
And
I am. And no one likes when I use it because I'm accident prone. So they don't like when I use
that's why the paramedic is here.
These scissors, because they say they're too sharp for me. So
all right. And so I just put the last leaf down flat, and then I'm just kind of diagonaling, kitty cornering, zigzagging, I don't know, the other 2 sentiments. Just something really fun. And so there is that.
Yes, and the ink was Peacock and Juice Box.
Yep.
I'll put you guys those here.
And
so it matches all that coloring we did at the beginning with the little purple effects.
And since there is quite a few people new to our Create With Us mini classes, I just want to let you guys know when there is a release of new products, on that day, at that time, is when the information for this class is live. Because we want you guys to be able to, if you are going to shop any of the new release, maybe you want to have a little bit more focused shopping list. And this will help you. And so we let you guys know ahead of time so that you can kind of pick and choose what you want to get. And then you also will have time to prepare. Thank you, Margie. I really appreciate that. I'm glad you like the cards. I just think these little lift the flaps with the little hidden jungle images are just so cute.
Yeah, I'm definitely bringing this home to Miles because.
Aw, well, tell him.
He loves.
Auntie Jenny helped you make it.
I know, I will. I'll be like, this is Auntie Jenny's design.
Someday I'll get to meet him.
I know, he's going to be so
in real life. I mean, we've FaceTimed, so.
Yeah, he smiles at you on FaceTime.
He does. He does.
Yes, this boy, he's a pandemic baby. He knows the Zoom,
Okay, I've got to Google. I'm Googling that right now because I don't know. I don't even know how to say that.
Wait till you see a quokka. It looks like we designed the actual character when you see it.
I am going to flip the camera, so it's just Kelly and I.
Oh my goodness.
Remember, all this handouts, all this information is on the lawnfawn website, and you can go ahead and get that. If you missed any of the video, the replay will be available fairly quickly after we end tonight. Facebook is usually pretty good about that. And it will all be linked on the Create With Us page on lawnfawn's website as well. So, yay. I hope you guys had fun. Thank you so much for all the hearts.
Yeah, I know. I had so much fun making these cards. They're so cute and fun.
Yay.
Oh my gosh, everyone's loving looking up the quokka.
I'm going to have to look it up after because I don't know what it is either.
Oh my goodness.
Yay.
Oh, I'm so glad that you guys love this release. I think it's such a happy, fun, just a carefree kind of release, which is really cool. And yes, and we do these classes with every release. So make sure you keep your eye out in September for that. I have to talk to Jen. Maybe we even do 2 because we might have to do like
we have to do a
fall one and then a winter one,
yeah,
you know?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
We just might have to.
We just might have to.
Lots of fun things coming up this fall. I'm so excited. It's going to be such a fun, creative couple months. So stay tuned.
Yes, I know. And it's definitely all the fall stuff is my favorite always. So
yeah.
And Halloween we have a lot of very cute Halloween stuff coming if you guys love Halloween.
Yay. I'll be attending every release. Thank you, Margie. Yay. And if you guys have any questions, if you're watching the replay or maybe, we didn't get your question, always feel free to reach out to me as well. Lawnfawn is amazing at answering emails. But if it's related to our card designs or whatever, I'm also happy to answer you. And you can find me through my website as well. Yay. Or 3, fall, Halloween, and winter. Yay.
Yes, we have a lot of fall fans.
I love fall, but I am sad when summer is over. So I have a really hard time with fall. I kind of like, you should just ask Chris, my boyfriend, like, like the last few days we are able to go to the beach, he has to like drag me home like a 2-year-old. So yeah, but I do love fall, and fall in New England is beautiful. So
Yes, and we have no seasons.
Nope.
Although I was just visiting my parents out close to Palm Springs, and it was 113.
Chris was saying today in Death Valley, don't quote me. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, but I didn't want to like start rumors if I was saying it wrong. 130.
It was 123 at my parents' house a few weeks ago, and they actually came out here. They came and stayed at a hotel close to the beach because they just were like, we can't, like, it's just too hot. It's crazy. It was one of those record heat days. Someone else is asking about the fall releases. So in September, we're going to have our fall, Halloween, winter, Christmas release. So we're very excited about that.
The best black ink to stamp for Copic coloring, I feel now, is Lawnfawn Jet Black. Thank you, Kelly. And Lawnfawn Jet Black ink pad works with alcohol-based markers, but it also works with watercoloring. And that's the black one. And then there's Crunchy Leaf is brown, and River Rock is gray, and Jellyfish is like a no-line coloring. So those are my favorite to use for all of my coloring.
And if you ever want to try the different shades of the Copic friendly inks, we actually have an ink cube pack that has all 4, the Jet Black, the Crunchy Leaf, the River Rock, and the Jellyfish. That's a really nice little pack, and you can find your favorites and maybe get a bigger one if you prefer a bigger one. But that little pack, Rebecca will link to it. It's a really great way to try all of the Copic friendly inks, or any alcohol marker friendly ink. They're also waterproof too, so you could do watercolor pencils like we talked about earlier, anything like that.
Yeah, I often do watercoloring with distress inks, and I use the Lawnfawn Jet Black all the time for that.
Yes, and some people say that sometimes they love autumn stuff, but they don't necessarily make autumn cards. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll make my thank yous with an autumn theme, or my birthday cards with an autumn theme, because I like those stamps. But yeah, sometimes you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to send someone a fall card. Although I think that's kind of fun, just to like surprise someone with a random act of kindness. But you can do your birthday cards with a fall theme, thank yous, thinking of yous, anything like that. Is a really fun way to use those fall stamps you love.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. All of those inks that Kelly talked about, the Crunchy Leaf,
River Rock, Jet Black, Jellyfish.
Yeah, they are all Copic friendly.
Yeah.
So of our inks, those 4 are the Copic friendly ones, and I did link the Pottery Studio is our ink cube pack that has all of them in it.
Yep.
Yes.
Yay. Did we miss any other questions?
Yeah, let us know if you have any others before we sign off.
It was so fun hanging out with you guys. And again, if you didn't get the handout, no rush. You can get it on Lawnfawn's website, but it's a great resource. Again, even if you don't have all the products, I just think it's really a nice resource. And a lot of people who have been taking my classes have been raving about the handouts. So, yay.
Yes, and I want to thank you guys. You guys are saying thank you. Thank you guys for being here and hanging out with us and creating with us. I mean, how cool is that we got to create and be together tonight? I think that's just, it's just so much fun. So we really appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with us. Someone's saying you can change the nibs on a Copic chow. So
Kelly, Jim Shirkus, that's my dad.
Oh my gosh!
I love it. Thanks, Dad, for watching. He's going to know more about card making after this past year. Yeah. My card classes will go back to weekends in the fall, Jess.
She can't give up beach time, you guys.
Yeah, I got to spend time with Chris, who works a Monday through Friday job. So we got to enjoy that Cape Cod summer.
I know. Maybe we'll do a little poll or something, Jen, to figure out the best time for us to host Create With Us come fall.
That would be a good idea. Oh, thank you so much, Margie. I'm so glad you liked the handouts. Thank you for joining my email newsletter, too.
Oh, Eric, we're so sorry to hear that.
I'm so sorry, Eric. You're in our thoughts, and we're really glad that this was able to bring a little joy to you today. We're sending hugs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely sending you hugs, Eric. Eric's been taking all of my classes this past year. It's been so fun getting to know him.
Yeah, Megan says it's nice to do these classes when you don't necessarily have a friend to craft with. And yes, it's so great that we get to craft online and do this all together. It's really nice.
For sure.
Oh, and then it says representing Stamp Fever. Hello.
Yay.
That's my local store here in Orange, California. So
that's where we met.
Yes, it's where Rebecca and I met. It's where a lot of people who work here at lawnfawn met. So it's definitely where I met all my crafty friends. So
Linda does such a great job at Stamp Fever.
She sure does. If you're in Southern California, you have to check it out.
Yay. Well, I think that's it, you guys. So we've been hanging out for quite a while. It's been so fun spending time with you. Again, if you have any questions, you can reach out to lawnfawn or you can reach out to me. And I can't wait to see your cards. Please hashtag them LF Create With Us so that we can see what you're creating. It's always so fun to see, one, that you actually made the cards, and two, if you put your own spin on them. That's awesome.
Oh, we've got a hi from Clipper Street in British Columbia. I miss you guys. Thanks for the hello.
And Cynthia glittered all the things in honor of Jen.
Aw, thanks, Cynthia. I can't wait to see your cards.
People love Linda. Fever. Oh, nice. I will tell Linda you guys give her some shout outs. That's awesome.
Awesome.
Bye, you guys. We really appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for crafting with us, and we can't wait to see you guys at the next one.
Bye, guys.
Bye.